How do you get your followers to engage and not just scroll on by you? Like, how do you get them to like stop and be like, oh, I love seeing what, Shannon's up to?
It's all in the content shouldn't have to work its way into your life. Like, it should just naturally already be there.
And if it's not, maybe that's the root of the problem.
Yes.
With your business.
And maybe you're not chasing things you already love doing and you need to start doing
that. I'm trying to do these things so that I have something to document. It's almost like helping you work.
You'll be backwards into making it work.
It's like a backwards way into working.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Katie.
Today we are interviewing a guest.
Such a good guest.
Okay, this was so great. We're going to have Shannon McKinstrie come on in a couple minutes, but first I wanted to go over her bio. You're going to not believe when I read this to you. Everyone, stop what you're doing and listen hard to this. This is not just a boring bio. Shannon McKinstrie is a social media mentor and strategist on a mission to eliminate the never-ending content creation guesswork and overwhelm so business owners can actually enjoy promoting their business and engaging with their audience on social media platforms without burning out.
That's exactly what our listeners have been asking us for.
This is exactly what our listeners have been asking for.
And we've already interviewed her, and it was so good.
Our notes are off the charts, exciting. I can't wait for you to hear what Shannon has to say. She's so fun. She's so approachable. You're going to love her.
Where can they find her?
And you can find her at Shannon McKinstrie on all the platforms. I'm going to spell it for you.
Spell it, please.
ShannonMcKinstrie, and it will be in the show notes.
Yes.
But y'all, check out Shannon. She is awesome.
And get your notepads ready because you are going to want to take notes.
For sure. Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Katie.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi. I'm excited.
We're so excited to have you. We did a little intro pre.
Cool.
But go ahead and tell us who you are, where you are, and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Shannon McKinstrie. I am in Cary, North Carolina. I'm originally from the Washington, D.C. area, but we moved here about almost 4 years ago. I'm a social media marketer, but really, basically, I do all sorts of things. But what I do is strategy, copywriting, just trying to help business owners who are like, I don't have time for this, try to make it fun, and also just take all the guesswork out of it so that you're not, hovering over the post button, wondering like, is this good enough? Like, yes, it is. Post it.
Yeah. This sounds like a super small mission. This is a lot. We're getting done with you.
Yeah. We love to say done is better than perfect.
It is. I watch my husband, he's a realtor. I watch him. I'm like, will you post it? Like, I am so over you. Just hit post. And he's like,
he stresses too. Like he's
everyone
all
does.
Of us.
Everyone. And I don't think everyone realizes like everyone does it. And I do too sometimes, but I also know like the one I spend the least amount of time worrying about does well. So like you're actually hurting yourself worrying about it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it's just the sheer quantity at this point. If you keep putting it out there, you just kind of desensitize yourself to that fear of hitting the button.
Well, that's why I think stories is so good because I just throw all sorts of stuff on stories. And then that's where I kind of test out ideas. So if people are in my DMs going, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. You should make this a reel. Then I know the reel's going to do well. And then I don't have to worry about it as much.
That's actually really helpful.
That is.
Do you know any percentages? This is totally off of our list of questions, but do you know any percentages of how many of your followers typically see your stories?
Ooh, you know what? I do. I think, it's low. It's like 2% or something like that. Yeah.
2%.
But again, like, I think that's another thing. Everyone's like, oh, my engagement's trash. I'm like, engagement's like 1 to 5%. So if 1 to 5% of your audience is liking your content, you're fine. I will say 1% is very low if you have a low following. Like there's actually, if your listeners want to go to Later, or just Google later.com engagement rate compared to follower count, something like that. And there's a whole chart that will pop up. So if you're like 0 to 10,000 followers, your engagement rate's usually 0 to 5,000, like 3 to 4%. But the more followers you have, that rate goes down.
Right.
So, again, the algorithm can't push our content to everyone. It's going to push it to who it thinks wants to see our content. Yeah. So don't be so hard on yourself. If you are in the 1%, that's why I'm here. Even my people with large followings, I'm like, no, let's get to that 5%. Mm-hmm. And then I have people with like 10% engagement, but I'm like, that's really good. So
that's really good.
Why do you think they have that?
Yeah, that's what I aim for. But again, that's like the, best of the best without ads, of course. This is organic.
Hey friends, you may have noticed that Shannon talks a lot in this week's episode about having an accountability partner so that you don't have to do social media alone. We thought this would be the perfect time to invite you to join Hustle Humbly community. Within the community, you can come join our referral list and find agents from other marketplaces, as well as find someone to be your accountability partner and maybe help you with your social media as well. There's so many opportunities within the community to get to know other agents. So come join us. Katie, where can they find the Hustle Humbly community?
Yes. You can find us at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership, and we sure would love to have you there.
Yes, perfect. Well, let's get back to Shannon. Why do you think they got to the 10%, the people that you know?
Just community. Like it's almost like your account is the one they go look for when they open your feed, when they open Instagram. Like that's
right. And there are people that I'll like actually go look at.
Yeah.
To see, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because even if it's not showing it, it's like you still go find it.
Yeah, I follow one and I'm like, wait, where is she? Where are her stories? I mean, I see your stories. Like there's just like a handful that you really do see.
Yeah.
And you kind of see them on repeat. But then if you don't see them one day, I'm like, are they okay?
Yeah. I know. You have to know. And it's so funny because I have even friends that are like, well, so-and-so never engages with my content, like a family member. And I'm like, well, they might not see it because if you're not engaging, Instagram doesn't see that connection between the two of you. So you just go down on the list. So you got to give to get, you know? So another thing, I think the reason a lot of my people's engagement rate is so high is because they actively engage every day. Like they're not passively scrolling. As users, it's really easy to just scroll. But like as business owners and as people who want visibility, like some people don't want visibility on Instagram, right? Like we're different because we're trying to build businesses and communities. So you have to leave comments and stuff like that. So like if I go on right now and go leave a comment on one of y'all's, and you write back, the next time you log in, I'm at the front of your storyline. I'm at the front top of your news feed. So that's just how it works. Like that, the algorithm is not out to get anyone. It's just trying to show people what they want, what it thinks they want to see. So you have to tell the algorithm what you want to see, but you also got to make sure the algorithm knows, show my content to people that want to see X, whatever it is.
Exactly. Okay. So you're married to a realtor.
Yes.
I know that you speak at realtor conferences and realtor, I've seen you. So I know that you have a large real estate audience, and I want you to tell us, where do realtors get social media wrong?
Oh my God. I don't want anyone to get mad at me.
How I can count the ways.
Like, how much time do I have? I'm joking. Okay. Well, the problem in my opinion, that real estate agents have, because I work with a lot of realtors, and realtors were my first clients ever as a social media manager 11 years ago. They are taking in because you guys are hungry and they want to learn everything. So they go to all these conferences and 18 different people are telling them 18 different things. Stop. Like, it's like me going to a real estate agent and then going to you and being like, well, some other realtor told me blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, that's because every realtor has a different marketing strategy. Every realtor has a different. Some realtors are the bulldog realtors. Some realtors are the hold your hand realtors. Some are downsize specialists. Some are same as marketers. So find a marketer, a social media marketer who, well, first you need a goal. And I think they all think my goal is followers. And like, that's not the goal. The followers come with you reaching the other goals. So, but the main thing I think realtors get wrong is one thing, realtors have such an upper hand on social media and they have no idea. Instagram wants the algorithm actively shows content to you as you're scrolling from people local to you. It's almost like as I'm scrolling the Reels tab, it's almost like 1 in every 5 to 6 Reels are someone local to me. It's kind of crazy, right? Because it knows if it says something about North Carolina, I'm going to stop and read it. If it says something about, or like if I start liking a bunch of content about, I don't know, Disney, it's going to right? So like, let's say, I talk to people all the time, like if it's location based, Instagram's going to eat it up because they know that's your interest and you're going to stay on the app longer and that's all they care about. So as realtors, it's like, look, I don't really care about the mortgage rates. Of course, if something big happens, share it. But like, I don't care about the houses you sold. I care about the people that bought it. Right? Like they need to tell stories. They need to create hyper local content. So if you're, and I talk to so many realtors like, well, I don't go out much. I'm like, how many times did you go get coffee this week?
Right.
Like you're always out. Are you kidding me? I think they think like they have to do this content creator type of reel. And I'm like, no, you could just say, hey guys, did you know there's a coffee shop and blah, 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 that blah, 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 blah. Like it doesn't have to be that deep. You want to be the go-to resource for more than just real estate. because like we're not always buying a home. So that's what they get wrong. They get told, and I was at a conference a few weeks ago and I spoke and I was hearing what some people were eating up. And I was like, you guys I think people easily get hit on the golden ticket, AI, hashtags. And it's like, you guys, content. No one teaches realtors content. I think because realtors want to hear magic sauce formula over here, and there is none.
Yeah. And I think that us opening with the statistics is such a great reminder too, because social media can give you such a false sense of security. You think you're working and you think that, I posted online that I'm a realtor. If anybody needs to buy or sell a house, call me. 1% of people saw that, you know? So it's a reality check to people that if all you're doing is that can't be the only leg of your business that's just going to make people come.
Right.
But if you're working and this is a component of your business, and then you're sharing what's actually valuable or interesting and like what people want to know, then it works.
Yes.
So
and honestly, like
great. Yeah.
I tell everyone when I first started as a social media manager, I had like 200 followers. I wasn't even trying to grow on Instagram. I was just kind of using it as my own diary, as like, oh, you know, I'm just going to use social media the way it was intended. Like just share my day. And I was sharing my day in stories and showing like my daughter and I at Starbucks, and then my dusty old laptop open and being like writing captions for realtors. And people were like, what do you do? What? You know, and then business would come in. If you just document what you're doing, like it's not that deep. And, you know, there's all these reality shows for real estate. It shows how much, and a lot of it's fake, right? So you guys can use that to your advantage and be like, look, this isn't selling sunset. This is actually like, we're not getting all dressed up and doing all this stuff. Like we are in the trenches doing this and that for our clients. So again, I think the realtors get stuck so much on, because a lot of people who present at the conferences, and I think that's why I got so much feedback at the last one I was at. They were like, you were the only one who gave anything actionable that I've ever heard. And I was like, really? And they're like, no, you don't understand. They come in and they're like AI and this and that. And then they go buy my stuff and they leave. And I'm like, well, this is why realtors are struggling, because no one's giving them anything to actually do. And while they sat there, I was like, do this right now, do this right now. And they're all sitting there on their phones. I'm like, do it. Cause I was like, you're not leaving here until something's done. And, they're like, that doesn't happen.
Let me tell you how many videos I have taken of myself. Not face to cam,
right?
Hand to trash can, rolling it up the driveway. Like, this is what we do, y'all. We roll the trash cans up. We sweep the floors. We have to dust the things off. We have to close the toilet lids. Like, realtors also, I think, just probably any entrepreneur get really focused on, I don't want to be face to cam. Like, I don't like the sound of my voice on video. I don't want to do all of this. And I think that stories, like you said, is such a great like gateway into being comfortable with just document something that you did. You didn't have to even be in there for them to know it was you doing it.
Right. No, 1,000%.
And when you put it right, and when you put it that way, it's almost like an accountability check. Like all you have to do is document like what you're doing. And people are so concerned about, well, today for work, I'm going to try to create this pretty graphic with a pretty font and my brand colors, and that's working. And if that's not working, and the answer is to document what you're doing, it makes you realize, oh gosh, I'm not working.
Nothing to document.
I don't have anything to document because I'm not actually working. Maybe you need to go on some agent tours and tour some houses and get content from real estate, or reach out to other agents in your office and say, can I go to your home inspection? Can I do this? Can I do that? It's like, if you look at it as I'm trying to do these things so that I have something to document, it's almost like helping you work.
It'll be backwards into making it work.
It's like a backwards way into working.
1,000%. I tell all these agents, they're like, well, I don't have a listing yet. I'm like, there's brokers opens. Yes. Go to it. Yes. Can you drive through a neighborhood and show someone what's cool about this neighborhood? Yeah. Okay. Go do it. Like, and it's not even faking it till you're making, like, you're actually going out and researching, you know?
Yes,
and
it's real work.
I managed years ago. I was like, this before Reels, I was like, we haven't posted in a week. I need a photo. Send me something. She's like, well, I'm just sitting at my desk. I was like, send me a photo of it. And it was one of her highest performing posts. It was so funny. And I was like, it was just MLS or MRI, whatever, I know it has this different names in places.
Yeah.
She had it open and I was like, and we just said like, researching homes, this is the real glamour side of real estate. And people loved it. And it's like, I don't know. It's not that deep. We just want to.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
Okay, so let's talk about it from the, social media does feel like a chore. Like you obviously as an agent or an entrepreneur, you're stuck in being your marketing person, wearing all the hats, right?
Yeah.
But how do you stay consistent with it? Like how do you make it fun? How do you remind yourself every day, oh wait, I have to take a picture of my computer or my coffee or rolling up the trash can? Like logistically, what are your tips?
That's where it's hard for me to teach because that's just what I do. Since I was a little girl, I've like documented everything. Like I always had the family camcorder in everyone's face. I just document. So for someone who's not used to documenting things throughout their day, I get it all the time from my real estate agents. They're like, oh, when another day? I'm like, well, then schedule it. It's almost like, okay, you have a workout class every day. You have a whatever, like put a meeting, like maybe it's noon every day. Like go find something, go on a walk, go whatever it is when there's something. But again, if you have a home inspection, like 10 minutes beforehand, like build in that 10-minute window so that like you can go in and take video. Cause even my husband, he'll go on a thing. He's like, oh, I forgot to take video. I'm like, you should have gotten there 10 minutes early. So you could have taken some video and like carve it out on your calendar. So I'm like, I know real estate agents live by their calendar. So put it on your calendar. So maybe that's one thing. Every time you have anything on your calendar, build in that 10-minute before or after and save video. And it doesn't even have to be 10 minutes. Like
I think we need to focus on after. Realtors are notoriously late.
Yeah. So there you go. So
they might have to stay behind. But I have stayed behind many times in a cool house that I felt awkward videoing during the showing or I was busy during the inspection and I'll stay a couple extra minutes while I'm locking. I'm going to be like, bye y'all. And then I'll take a quick video there.
I love that.
And I think that's a great tip too, because when we're showing our clients houses, if we are distracted in the house taking all this video content while they're looking,
they'll be pissed.
It's unprofessional. It makes it about us.
Yep.
I've certainly snapped photos and things of being like, oh my gosh, look at this. But it needs to be about them in that moment.
Yep.
But yes, I have like sometimes when they go to the car after a showing and I'm locking the lockbox, before I lock it, I'm like, I'm just going to run back in real quick. And just do like a quick, it's so easy, to get it done, but you have to remember to do it. Almost like developing a new habit.
Yep.
If you're not used to
a realtor in DC, his name's Kyle Toomey. And every time I do a real estate, like anything, I show everyone one of his reels because it's like after he left a listing presentation, he didn't even have the house listing. I don't even know if he got it. I still remember everything about this house and what happened on the listing presentation. He got in his car afterward and told the story of the listing presentation and how they were beekeepers. And he went in the back and they put the stuff on him and he was like laughing about it. And he was like, I'm actually terrified of bees, but hope I get this listing. But again, it was like, no one's going to remember the house. It's like get in your car afterward and just tell the story if something interesting happened. But I think, that's probably the goal is building a 5 to 10 minute buffer after for 10 minutes, record in your car and talk about it or go in and take footage. It's just like, it's almost like, again, journaling, right? It's like if you want to pick up journaling, you got to schedule it out every day. If you want to start creating content, you got to schedule it out. If you want to take up a new hobby, treat it like a hobby. And then it doesn't feel like so exhausting. It's like, this should be fun. And you're just taking people along for the ride.
I'm so glad that you said the word exhausting. The comment we get most and the question we get most is about social media burnout. It feels like all of the time they're asking us, what do we do? I'm burned out on social media. Do you have some advice on this?
Yeah. Again, put it down.
Take a break.
Take a break. Like I don't post on the weekends typically. If I do, it's because I've got nothing else going. Like I'm chilling on the couch. I'm like, might as well put a post up. Like I'm bored.
And you want to. You enjoy it.
I want to. Right. So most of my clients post 4 times a week. And that's doing more than most people do. So if you can hit 3 to 4, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's be real. Realtors are usually busy on the weekends and that's probably exhausting to them. Be like, now I got to create a freaking post. So if every Monday morning, like you can just gather all that footage you took, throw a few things out again, like look at what's working online. And most of the stuff that's working on Reels right now is simple B-roll, like you said, like bringing like a hand bringing up trash can, and in case, and you just slap some text on it, and like I don't know who needs to hear this, but if your realtor isn't dragging trash cans around like you found the wrong one, or like have fun with it. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And then you tell a quick story in the caption, or you just go it's so glamorous, right? And just like kind of poke fun at it. And yeah, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to like solve someone's debt in a post or help them discover, the beauty of home ownership in one post. Just like share one little tidbit or let them in. But I would just, again, schedule a time once a week to maybe create your 3 to 4, like in my Reels lab on Mondays, everyone gets their prompts. I go, here's the 4. And then you just take video from the camera roll that matches up with it and you're done. So if you're burnt out, there's definitely resources out there, mine, others. But I would make it your goal to maybe do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Because if you're burnt out, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is kind of a good cadence to follow until you start finding joy in it again.
And I love how you really hone in on just one thing. Like you focus on Reels.
Yeah.
That's what you enjoy. And I know you teach other things too, but that is your primary focus, which is helpful. What made you, like, at what point did you just fall in love with Reels and decide that was your thing?
It's funny. Well, because Instagram stories are my favorite, right? So I always tell people if Instagram was just stories, I'd be the happiest person on the planet. I'm like, I love stories. That's where I bond with people. I like share everything from like crap my husband bought at the grocery store that I'm mad about, or like, our fun adventures to cool breweries. So I just share everything, right? And then I share social media tips too. And people are like, oh my God. And I get DMs on both. So I love sharing and documenting and being silly, right? Having fun. And Reels are a new way to do that. So once I was like, oh, I can just basically treat Reels as Instagram stories in a way, like share a quick tip, share a quick story, and make it last longer, right? Because stories only last 24 hours. So I always love stories. So when Reels came out, I was like, oh, I was also one, I was like, God, not another thing. And then I was like, oh no, this is actually amazing. This is so perfect, because everyone was making videos on IGTV at the time, which is now gone. They were so curated. I would spend 3 hours on one video. And I was like, this is dumb. And Reels take me, I have a harsh, like if it takes me more than 20, 30 minutes, it's in the trash. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So then I was like, I don't know. And if you look at even TikTok these days, the TikToks that go viral look like Instagram stories. People are literally laying in bed ranting about something, or they just got in their car and thought about something. It's very off the cuff. It doesn't have to be curated. And I think a lot of realtors get stuck in they want their videos to look like Gary Vee. That's fine. If that's your thing and you're very like that kind of agent, I get it. But hire a videographer to do it for you. Like,
I was going to say, if you want to be like that, you're going to have a whole
You
team
need a
of
team.
support.
You can't just do it and make it look like that. Shannon, do you ever take a story that's like well responded to and just make that a reel? Like download that actual video?
Oh yeah.
Because that makes it easy too.
And sometimes I'll be like, I have a feeling I'm going to want to make this a reel, and I'll save it to my camera roll so it doesn't have stuff all over it.
Or you put the text on it.
And because it's like, it's a really good testing ground, because the people watching your stories are the most involved and most dedicated to you already. So it's like, lean on them to see, what do they care about? What's interesting to them? What don't they care about?
Right. Right. Do you also post the same? Are you using, I know you follow TikTok. Are you putting stuff onto TikTok the same as what's on Instagram? Or like for our listeners who maybe or don't use Instagram, maybe they do use TikTok. Like what are the thoughts there?
TikTok is like my playground. It's like my freedom place where I have no rhyme or reason over there. I throw up whatever I feel like throwing out there. I will, like, if a reel does well, I'll throw it on TikTok, but it never does as well on TikTok, because it's a very
Do you have more Instagram followers than TikTok? Yes, much more. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't really have a strategy over there. I don't really have a brand over there. I'm just kind of testing and also observing, because a lot of stuff that does well on TikTok eventually comes over to Instagram. I've had several go viral on TikTok, and it's usually about my own business, like marketing, social media marketers, like hot takes on the industry. So I think if you do want to grow, and it's the same as LinkedIn, I tell everyone on LinkedIn, I'm like, talk about your industry. what's wrong with the realtor world, what's wrong. Like for me, it's if I start going off on like how social media marketing, people aren't paid enough, like it goes crazy, right? Like, so thought leadership is kind of what that all kind of boils down to. So I think with TikTok, it's a lot of thought leadership type of things. And again, that's probably going to mainly go to other realtors, but that's a good way to get started because if other realtors trust you, people will see that and be like, oh, then I can trust them too. But again, if I was going to do TikTok as a realtor, it would all be hyper local. It'd be like, I mean, based on things already in your lifestyle. I'll tell every realtor, and I said this at the conference a few weeks ago, I was like, look, if you want to blow up on any social media platform, what is it beyond real estate that you like? Like, is it you love going to breweries? Like my husband loves to golf. Like, what is it? And then you go deep into your area around that topic. So if you are really into bookstores or you are really into thrifting, be the realtor that takes you to all the cool thrift stores. Like, cause we're going to bond with you over that. And then that's a lot more fun to come back to than just like, just listed. Like we can go to Zillow and then throw those in, right? I always say like, once you have a listing or that, like throw that in, but have maybe one series that you share once a week that is about your local community. And maybe it is neighborhoods. Maybe it is like, you know, if you guys are in an area that people are relocating to, then what things to check out when you relocate here. And it could be everything. It could be things for families, things for singles, but be a resource for the area because that's going to get to everyone.
And that's great advice too, because it's like, well, what does a bookstore have to do with me selling houses? And it's like showing that you love books builds relationship online.
Yep.
And once the relationship is there, the business follows.
Yep.
So it's this cycle of we are in a relationship business.
Yeah.
And that's why sharing yourself is so important. Which I think this isn't on our list of questions, but kind of dives into people who have all these separate accounts for this is my real estate account, you know? And it's like, well, it's kind of, I want to know about your dog too, you know? Like I want to know who you are. Like, do you have a lot of people that have two accounts and what do you advise there?
Yeah. And those accounts get zero reach, zero engagement. I'm like, what are y'all doing? I mean, the people following you here's the thing. I started a new account because none of my friends and family give a crap about what I do, right? They're like, what is she doing? Over their head. Everyone needs a house. Everyone needs a house. Everyone is your potential client. So what are you doing starting a new account? Like if you're in a niche that you're like, no one gives about what you're selling, sure. You sell something everyone requires in their life. So why?
Good point.
No point in starting a new account. When we moved here, he just changed his handle and his profile to reflect what he does. But it's all our friends back in Virginia, and he still did it, and he's still getting leads on. And you know, it's making sure that people know where he is. But now all his content, even our friends back home, find it fun to look at because they're like, oh, well, that looks like a cool spot. Maybe we'll come visit you guys. You know, like, like that does look like a lot of fun. So yeah, everyone needs a house. So you do not need multiple accounts unless like, I don't even know, you're really into DIYing or something. And maybe like that's an outlet for you. And then you could, but I don't know. I personally, no. I think
you would just mix them all together, right? Yeah. The dog post, the DIY post, the real estate post.
Brand. The only time I would say have two is if there's a team. So like have the team page and and then have fun doing funny reels and stuff like that. But we want to know you're a personal brand. It's every realtor that I've worked with really struggles with hearing that. But I'm like, you are. So
I have a question. I believe your husband, I don't know if he still is. I know he was at some point. Isn't it Daniel G, the guy that makes all the reels? Is that who
that's his team lead. Yeah.
Okay. Did he pick him based on his social media or what was the story?
No. And what's funny is Ryan got approached by a few people in our neighborhood that are realtors. And he was just like, they're just not my style. They're a little, Ryan is like me, very unserious, but he takes his job very serious. Right. But he doesn't want stuffy. And so my sister-in-law, who also lives here, literally saw a reel by Daniel G and was like, this guy looks hilarious, and sent it to Ryan. He said, this guy's hosting, he was hosting something. So Ryan was like, sure, I'll go look. But Ryan at the time was just his own, down here, he's a broker, right? So I forget who he was with. I think Fathom or something. But at the time he was like, I'm still doing this part-time. I do need to be on a team. And then so he met Daniel G and they hit it off, and then that was it. But yeah, Ryan didn't like know who he was, but our sister-in-law, but again, his sister-in-law, a renter, not in the home buying market, saw his reel, because Daniel does North Carolina reels. He does funny reels. He does things beyond just, hey, I sold a house today, which is important to do as well. But yeah, so it just kind of all happened organically. But again, Daniel, and it's funny because his style of content is a little more polished. Like they use a really good camera, right? And if he started going and doing reels the way like Ryan does it, it wouldn't work, right? So it's like, I also want to make sure people know, because when I mentioned the Gary Vee thing, I'm like, if that's your thing, do it and go all in. If you want to do more like Daniel, it's a little more polished and like high resolution and cool editing and fun fonts, do it. It's whatever you want to do. Like anything works as long as the content is interesting. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like what comes natural and fun to Katie
Yes.
is different than what comes natural
Yes.
and fun to me. So I feel like if you're still super struggling with it, it's almost like you just haven't found what's
You haven't found your thing.
natural and fun to you. Maybe you are putting too much pressure on it because you're trying to be like this account or
someone
this
else.
person.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like you. As far as my, I have a lot of my dogs and my kids, and I love trees, but I also am a big actual paper journaler. I guess I journal. So to me, you're the only other person I've ever heard say that Instagram is kind of like a journal, because I have always treated Facebook and things like in that same way.
Yep.
And I think that's the only part of it that comes natural to me. And so I
love
just
that.
do that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And also like people who journal, I see a lot of people like that could even be, my mentor actually used to do this. Every morning she'd be like writing. Well, she had pretty handwriting. I was like, no one wants to see mine. But like she would write like something. It doesn't even have to be deeply profound, but like something, and that would be her every morning message. Like that's the first story she'd do. And that's a good thing too for people that need more structure. It's like, okay, then every morning start out, show what's already in your life. Are you journaling? Show what you wrote out, or show a video of you sitting there journaling and just saying, hey guys, here's what I'm up to today. I hope you have a great day. Just some text over it. Like like you were saying earlier, like the content shouldn't have to work its way into your life. Like it should just naturally already be there.
And if it's not, maybe that's the root of the problem with your business.
And maybe you're not chasing things you already love doing and you need to start doing that. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Do you love listening to the podcast but miss us the rest of the week? Well, you can come follow along on social media and see our faces all week long. Katie, where can they find us?
You're not going to believe this. We're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Threads, Pinterest, MySpace, Clubhouse, and Vine. Just kidding. We're not on MySpace, Clubhouse, and Vine.
No. But you can follow us at any of those at Hustle Humbly Podcasts. So come hang out with us. We'd love to see you there.
Okay,
Fascinating.
Shannon, I want to talk a little bit about engagement. So we talk about building your business repeat referrals. So you need to stay in front of the people that know you, that maybe you've worked with before, or that are in your sphere in some way. What is your advice or tips on talking to the people? So instead of just output, here's my content. Like what are the engagement tips that you give, or like how can we stay connected to the people who we know and who know us?
Yeah, you can definitely add people to like, you can like add as like reminders, like when they post, especially like your A+ clients. So that way you get a notification when they've actually posted. So you can be like one of the first people to wish them happy birthday or say congrats or whatever it is. You just put like a little bell on, and you could almost, because this is what I tell a lot of people, especially realtors who don't really have time. Well, the average person's on Instagram like 27 minutes a day. So I'm like, in those 27 minutes, maybe take 10 of those to just at night, like when you're watching TV or whatever, just go down and just spend at least 10 minutes engaging with your feed, which is just leaving comments and things like that. But like actively going through, and maybe you just have a little list on your computer where you're like, I've got to make sure I'm, what is it, like touch points, like just make sure I'm reaching out to them at least once a week. And then you're actively kind of like looking maybe every Sunday or while you're sitting at an open house board because no one's there, like go through your list and be like, all right, let me go see what they've done lately. So at least, but the more you engage with them, they're naturally going to be at the top of your feed. So that helps too. But that's what I would do. I would make a list almost like what you guys do with like, you know, any sort of check in with clients, whether it's email, whatever, and have your list of people to make sure you're at least going and commenting on content from them so that they, you know, stay top of mind. So any way that you track leads, I would just add in Instagram as like part of that process.
Okay. Is there any truth to I know, because you're always debunking myths about social media, which I love.
My favorite.
Is there any truth to the whole don't post and ghost? You need to be on your app engaging 20 minutes after you do make a post. You know, like, what is there truth to this?
There was back in the day. That was a very big thing before Reels came out. It was like, you had to clock in. You would post because those first few minutes, but the algorithm is different where it's, especially with Reels, like, okay, I will say this. It's a good practice to be active because when I post, I want to make sure the first like 5 or 6 people that comment, I'm like, but I'm at least responding so people know there is a person and I actually do give you know what about my audience. Like I do. I'm like, I want them to know I'm not just blah, blah, blah. So I try to stick around for a while after I post. That's why I try to post. I would always joke. I would normally post during like pickup line because I'm sitting there for 20, 30 minutes. So that would be like I'd have my reel ready to go and then I'd post and then I'd have like 15 minutes to like respond to people, put it on my stories, like do my whole little spiel to get people, you know, to encourage people to go watch it. So it's a good practice. It definitely helps because those, you know, your audience is who decides if your content's worth more people seeing it. So you kind of want to show love to the people that showed love to it. So that's kind of more, but if you're on vacation and you've scheduled it for 11 a.m. and you want to drink a pina colada on the beach, like it's fine. Like let it go. The algorithm is not, like it was then. And not that the algorithm has always been trained to show us content we want to see and to push content that's getting good engagement out, period. But so if it's really good, it's going to perform whether you're there to respond to people or not, but it is a good practice.
Okay, here's my next logistical question. The resetting of your stories, like letting your story expire and not having the ring around you. And then the next thing you put in stories seems to have more traction. Personally, this is pretty accurate. Like if I take Sunday off and then on Monday, the first thing I post will have far more views than anything I had in the whole previous week. Is this real or not real?
That's my favorite hack on Instagram to date. Like it is. It's like a reset. And honestly, the more your first story is always gonna have the most views because people just fall off. That's just how we use the app. So like, don't be like, oh, like my husband was, I was showing him, I was like, watch. After that third story, it's like, you know, I was like, see, I told you, because he doesn't share a lot of stories. So one day we were out and I was like, watch, you'll see it tank after the third. So you got to keep it really interesting so that they want to keep watching. But yeah, if you let it reset, it's almost like resetting the clock and then almost like puts you back in the front of the storyline in a way. But yeah, it's one of my favorite hacks. So if your story views are down, let it go dark but make sure that first story is interesting. So they want to see more. Yeah.
I did not know this.
Okay, because you're right. And I tap through or skip through after the third story, except for the influencers that I'm going there to see what they're doing. They
Exactly.
get 100 stories and I'm like, I need to see. And then sometimes I'll look down and I'll be like, okay, but they've got 30 stories here. And if they're all a minute, that means I'm 30 minutes for watching this TV show, right?
Yeah, right.
So now when it was 15 seconds, I'm like, I can handle this, right? But now that they're a minute, sometimes I'm like, ooh, do I want to commit
so long
all this time?
Like that should be a reel or but I will say, like, there's some realtor I follow back home, and every Tuesday they do the brokers opens and they do polls, like guess how much. I would watch every single one because I'm playing a game now. So again, if you keep it interesting, they're gonna watch all 20 stories. But yeah, it has to be something that they're like, talking forever. That's a lot. Like go live for that.
That's a lot. Yeah, go live for that, right?
Go live.
And then I've done lives before where I'm like, oh, I'm just going to talk to some people about whatever I was doing today. I'll just hit the live button. and make a smoothie while we talk.
Yeah.
It ends up being like 5 or 8 minutes. And then like 300 people will watch it. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, like this was not interesting. I had a title attorney be like, yeah, I just stayed till the end to see if you said anything about the class. Cause I was talking about, I went to their class that day. Yep. I was like, that was quite a time commitment for you to watch me make a smoothie, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. We're just nosy. We just love watching what we are all doing behind closed doors. And the live is genius because everyone following you gets a notification. Every single person following you gets a notification. So
how often should people do that if they're working for?
I do it like once a week because going live is, to me, it's a lot. Like, I feel like I need to prep. I want to make sure and then we usually have guests so it's like a lot to kind of it's almost like prepping a podcast. So like I do it like once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not, you do have like, you'll be guesting with someone else. That's kind of nice.
That is neat.
And it keeps the conversation going. And
I don't like when the realtors do it with their lender and it's very stuffy because that's the one you see the most. So stuffy. It's not stuffy. I'd rather you go over to the pet store and interview the pet store owner.
Exactly. Interview the owners.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't want to watch you talk to your lender awkwardly on top of that about the current rates and loan programs. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
And I think, I don't know. I think it's just, obviously I'm not a big mindset person, but it's like a mindset thing for sure. I think like they think they just have to be this polished, whatever. And it's like, you guys, they want to know that they have to go look at houses.
How do you get your followers to engage and not just scroll on by you? Like, how do you get them to like stop and be like, oh, I love seeing what, Shannon's up to? It's
all in the hook. Like the hook is if you can write a good hook, you've won the battle of the beast, of the algorithm beast. But again, it's like hooks change just as much as everything in marketing changes, user behavior. Like nowadays, I tell everyone, like in a reel, don't even say the hook. Just put it there and start talking. Just start yapping because we are like, I can read that in 0.2 seconds. Like, tell me what I want to know. We're just impatient. And the thing is, we're following more people. We're on more apps. We are getting bombarded. So you got to make them care. And you got to know what they care about. And that's not hard. Just ask people. Just
do you give realtors any tips for which apps, how many apps? Like, can they just go all in on one? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah. Unless you're trying to be like the next Ryan Serhant. Like, I highly doubt he's the one pushing posts on his content, right? Like, you could do one. I love LinkedIn. I love it. I love it all. But that's because this is what I do. If you love TikTok, you hate all the other. If you are more serious and you just like LinkedIn and you feel like your personality comes out better on LinkedIn, LinkedIn's awesome. LinkedIn,
because you get a lot of response from LinkedIn, but it's like so hard to like. I don't know how I've ended up, and I think so many of the people maybe in our market, our this industry, in our age range, I don't know. I'm just like sucked into Instagram. Like that's the one I want to use.
Yeah.
I even did a 14-day challenge on TikTok. I started a new account. I posted, wait for it, 10 TikToks a day.
Oh my gosh.
For 14 days.
I remember.
And I still do not open. That was 2 years ago. I still do not open TikTok. It just doesn't resonate to me. Like I don't, it's too much for my brain. I don't know what it is. But the LinkedIn, I want to try, but I'm like, how do you, like, I want to break out. Do you have advice? I want to go to LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, video is big on LinkedIn right now. That just kind of started. They created their own video tab now. Just like there's a Reels tab, there's now a video tab on LinkedIn. So repurpose your Reels. Like just repurpose
I did not know this.
That's getting traction for you. Are you doing that?
Oh, yeah. But honestly, what gets me the most traction on LinkedIn is hot takes, random thoughts I have. Like, I treat LinkedIn like Threads, and then I treat it like the thing is, a lot of people on LinkedIn aren't there to be educated. They're there to vent, share opinions, things like that. So, especially if you like go to a conference.
I know. How is Threads doing?
What's up with Threads?
Well, Threads
people are mean to you on Threads sometimes.
I love Threads. Again, I just share random thoughts. Like,
that's what it's for.
Yeah, or just like theories you have, methods you have, reminders like stop doing this, start, things like that. People But also like what does really well on Thread, it's very like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just random kind of witty thoughts, which, I'm not the wittiest, but I think a lot of people get intimidated by that. But if you'll also see people who aren't witty going crazy, but if you have a sense of humor, like go to Threads.
I will say I kind of thought, Threads became popular and I'm like, I'll just wait and see if this sticks around.
Yeah.
And then I never, I really just do Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm. But I will say the little sponsored Thread sneak peek get me.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, I want to know what the rest of that sentence says.
Yep.
It is actually witty or thought-provoking, and I want to know. And then I click on it, not realizing it's like a sponsored thing.
Yep.
And then it's like, you must download the Threads app. And I'm like, oh, it got me. It got me.
You just thought it was an Instagram post and you were like, click, oh no.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh gosh, it got me. So I'm like, maybe I'm a Threads girl. I don't know.
But it's also a good place to bond with people in your area, or I'm sorry, in your field, right? So like I can see something funny being like, are you even a realtor if you haven't stepped in a whatever, right? Like people will be like, oh my God, tell me your worst whatever story. And people will go nuts. It's very conversational over there. Where Instagram is a lot of, ooh, cool, thanks for the tip. Like Threads is like joining in a conversation. Another thing, just like Instagram, and I see it all the time. If I were right now actually on Threads to be like, where are all my North Carolina people at? I'd probably get like a million comments for real. Because Instagram is actively showing content to people in your area. So you can even say, where are all my Louisiana people who love blank? And then you'll, blah, 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 and then next thing you know, you're starting conversations and they're like following you on Instagram and they're like, oh, she's a realtor. My cousin's moving here. Like you just never know. You never know.
You never know.
It's conversational. Like LinkedIn, Threads, they're all Instagram is also conversational, but to me, it's a little more passive. Like we just kind of like to take a laugh, take something cool and just kind of keep it moving. Threads, people are actually joining in on major conversations. So
we should tell her that success story of Karen.
Do you want to tell her?
I do.
Okay, listen to this.
Okay, so we just went to Dallas because the podcast had its 5th birthday. And we decided we wanted to meet some of our listeners.
Yes.
Dallas was easy for us to get to. We sent out invitations. People RSVP'd.
I love this.
So based on the RSVPs, just for safety, we did go and like just sort of vet everybody that RSVP'd.
Sure.
They were on our email list, which is how it wasn't a public invitation. But there was this one account that we were like, it doesn't really have her name. It doesn't say realtor. It's just sort of, vague. Like, is this a real person? So she shows up. She comes. She's a real person. Her name's Karen. And she shows up to our coffee date. And she's so cute. But I'm like, well, how come her profile doesn't say realtor or anything about real estate? And she's like, I just found you guys. And I'm new in Dallas. And I just got my license last week. And I said, that's amazing. Like, how did you find us? We had just made a reel where it's like, who would you podcast with if I died? And it's basically her.
She's dead. Like
I'm dead.
Alyssa's, and I'm like pretending to podcast.
And she's like
with her
setting me up and putting drinks in my hand. And it's just a funny, silly thing.
Yeah.
She goes, so I'm like, who told you about us? And she's like, oh, no one. I was just on Instagram and I saw this reel and you were dead.
Oh,
she goes, and I thought it was. She goes, I thought it was so funny. So she commented like, oh, this is so funny. Like, hello from Dallas. All she did.
And I commented back, we're going to be in Dallas this weekend. You should come and meet us. And she started listening to the podcast and she came to our meetup. She had her real estate license for 1 week.
That's amazing.
Wild. And now she's like so dear to us.
Yeah.
So we're like, Karen, we're going to help you fix your bio because we didn't even know you were a realtor.
She was like, I can't put anything yet because I haven't even chosen a broker.
She was nothing.
She was like, I can't even put that yet because I'm so fresh. I don't even have a broker.
Yeah. You're like, give me your phone. That's so funny though. But again, that just shows like, you don't just want a reel to do well. You want it to be memorable. You want them to remember like, oh my God, like her being like, you were dead. Like, it's like she remembers.
Yeah. She's like, I saw this reel and you were dead.
That's so cute.
So funny. So funny.
But I was like, it works, you know?
It does.
totally works. Just like she remembers the guy wearing the bee suit.
Yeah.
why would
Right.
you,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's memorable.
it's memorable, guys. Like yeah. And there's so much stuff sitting in people's drafts probably that like they're scared to hit post. I'm like, if that could be the one that brings in your Karen or brings it, right? It's like, come on, guys, just hit post. And if it doesn't do well, figure out why. That's my favorite. Like when someone's like, it didn't do well, I'm like, sweet.
How do you figure out why? Tell us
It's just how my brain works. I don't know. Because I study what's working. So, and also I've been doing this a long time, but I'm also like, you lost me. Like, I'll be like, it didn't hold my interest, you know? And, I tell everyone right now, like if you've been sending your friends reels or saving reel, like go look at them and figure out what got you. It could be the hook. It could be the words they use. So again, I'm like, if it's too generic of copy, it's not specific enough, or you wait too long to get to the point, you've lost me, right? There's one girl who like had everything broken up so much. I'm like, if you would have left it all in one text box where we just read it as a thread on top of some video, it would have gotten quadruple the engagement. And she did it again. And that's exactly what happened. Because I was like, what you have written is so good, but it's taking too long. It's like, it's not, I always tell people like reels, remember we were like pointing and waiting for the thing to drop. I'm like, we do not have time for that anymore. Unless you are dropping a bombshell, do not make them wait. Like if it's just hey guys, here's a cool hack for, just tell it. Just put it on the thing.
What is the hack?
Like, yeah, we don't need to wait for it. Like if it's like a major like before and after, yes, we will wait for before and after. We will wait for the end of a smoothie recipe. We will wait to see the final result. If it is just a hack or if it is just a step, just put it, just like, we don't have time. So if you're watching it and here's the thing, find like an Instagram buddy. The other day did a reel and I was like, you know what? And my business partner has ADHD and we're always talking about, she's like, I consume reels totally different than other people. Right. And so I sent her a screenshot of mine. I was like, is this hard to read? Does this make your brain hurt? And she was like, yup. And I was like, well, thank you. And she was like, here's what I would do. I would just change the font. I changed font, sent a screenshot. And she's like, beautiful. She's like, this makes my brain so happy. So find someone who you know needs your content and be like, is this interesting? And they'll tell you. Like, stop
helpful.
Throwing out the same stuff. And even when one of mine doesn't do well, I know exactly why. Like I'll think, oh, it's good. And then I'll be like, I missed that. Like it just either I took too long to get to the point or it just wasn't interesting enough or it wasn't the problem my people actually have. So you got to talk to people and find out what they want to see.
You have to do the research because I think realtors are like, well, I posted this week. I did the just listed to the just sold. They're terrible.
Yeah, nobody called me.
Nobody called me. Nobody saw my post. Nobody answered me when I said, do you know someone looking to buy or sell?
No new business.
No new business.
It's not 2018 anymore. Everyone's a realtor. Everyone's on Instagram. Everyone's got a TikTok. It's like, why do they care about you? So again, and that's why Ryan, my husband's guilty of it. I don't think he's posted in 2 weeks, right? We have plans. I'm making all these reels for him right now because I'm like, if we're going to come back, like we need to, if you want to go all in real estate because it's his, side hustle, I'm like, you need to take this seriously. And like, he's got such a fun personality. We are always out and about doing fun stuff. The amount of stuff on his camera roll that I'm like, could be viral reels. I'm like, Ryan, post it. But he gets stuck in perfection paralysis. And it's like, the most unperfect reels are the ones that go viral. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
This has been so great.
I know.
Do you have any last tips that you want to share with our realtor audience? Last thoughts, final words.
Just don't do it alone. Because I know what it takes. That's why the real estate agents I've worked with hired me as their manager and hired me as their content creator because they know, and I know you guys aren't going to do it. My husband sits on the couch with me every night and I'm like, have you done a reel today? No. Have you done a reel? And I'm like, you're not going to do it. And all the social media managers who work with realtors, they always joke. They're like, they're not going to send me anything, are they? I'm like, no, they're not because they're busy. You guys do more than most any business. I mean, sure, I know there's tons of, before everyone comes to me, well, everyone works hard. Yes. Realtors work harder. Okay. You guys are bombarded all day with text. You're bombarded all day with email. You're like, ugh. It is a lot. I couldn't do it straight up. I would drop the ball. I would be a horrible realtor. I tell everyone that. I'm like, no, it takes a lot to be a good agent. And that's the thing, like, so show why you're a good agent. And it's simply documenting, taking people into your world, showing who you are, whether you're the bulldog or you're the kind, like whoever you are, who are you? And just post it, but get some help. Maybe get someone on your team. Schedule out maybe when you have your team meetings once a week or once a month, just create a bunch and batch it. Whatever you have to do, just do it. Yeah. But you don't need a videographer. You don't need a million followers. You just need to build a community in your area that like cares about what you post.
That was very helpful.
Oh,
and I assume we want to tag our location in everything,
Yes,
right?
every time tag your location, please.
Okay.
And use local hashtags. I'm sorry, local hashtags. You guys need to be
Local.
Give me a local hashtag. Like I want to be hashtag Baton Rouge.
Yeah, so Baton Rouge eats, Baton Rouge moms, Baton Rouge. I'm sure there's let's have some fun real fast. Wait, hold on.
Oh, good. I like it. On the spot.
I geek out around.
We're like, what are your final words? Now tell us about hashtags.
Just kidding. One more thing. Baton Rouge. Okay, so if you go to if you type in Baton Rouge, like 5, come up. Baton Rouge photographer, braider, blah, blah. So what I usually do, so let's go to Baton Rouge. Let's just go to Baton Rouge. And then I'll go through all of these and find ones that are doing well. And then I look at what hashtags they're using. Oh. So they're using, let's see if I can find a fun one real fast. If there's any other different ones.
I feel like the whole conversation has been pretty fun and laid back.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you talk about social media, they do bring it back to such like a technical, planned out.
Yeah.
And it does require some thought, but it's like you kept saying, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
It's just not that deep. It's just like we say, we're not emergency room doctors.
Right.
No,
it's not that deep.
We're not right. Baton Rouge real estate, obviously. But if you can get like Baton Rouge living, Baton Rouge.
Something different.
Homes, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Here it is, Baton Rouge, LA. So IG is Baton Rouge. So again, anything that you can find, that way it's telling the algorithm, show this to people in Baton Rouge.
Ah.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Shannon, I don't know if you noticed or brought one, but at the end of each show, we do a toast. You get to toast to someone that has, impacted you, your life, your business, or just someone you want to celebrate who's doing a great job. Did you bring a toast? Would you like to toast someone?
Sure. I brought my coffee. It's very lukewarm.
Yay! Perfect. Let's toast with that coffee.
Well, I'll toast to you because we met on Instagram. Probably 5 years ago, to be honest. 4.
We talk a lot on Instagram.
I know,
it's been a
but
long
it just goes
time.
to show you. I've seen you through your journey. You've seen me through mine. We've never met in real life. So a toast to you and Instagram for bringing people together. Cheers. And it's just a special thing.
Cheers. Love it.
Yes. And thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here. I know that you're very busy, and so we really appreciate you taking the time.
I know I tried to get myself together for you ladies, but it just
You did a great job.
You did a great job. This is we're very low key.
I know. And I know that. So I was like, it'll be fine.
It's totally fine. We're not like trying
It's
to
not
make
that deep.
My brain's working, and that's all that matters.
Right. And honestly, we've had we don't have that many guests, to be fair. We mostly just talk to each other.
Just go back and forth. I love that.
The ones that are
light off.
Go for it. The ones that we talk to that are like very proper and professional, our listeners are like,
we didn't like them.
Oh, yeah. I know. It happens.
You'll be a great fit. You'll be a great fit.
Well, I hope everything helped. I'm like, I hope I can just give everyone one takeaway.
I even feel excited about posting.
I know, and I forgot to ask you for your how to find you, but I'll just do it in the beginning.
In the intro.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everywhere I'm at is just Shannon McKinstrie, pretty much.
Just Shannon McKinstrie. Okay. Oh, Shannon, thank you for being here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And thank you for being flexible. This week has just been
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. This works out.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you
it's
guys.
a lot this week. Okay. Well, have a wonderful day.
And let me know when it's out. I'll make sure to put it in my email and all that stuff.
October 28th, but you'll get an email with all the info.
Oh, let's do a little photo before you go.
Oh, yay. Yes.
Maybe it'll clear up. I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes it's clear. Sometimes it's not. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for having me. It means a lot. And
you were
I'll talk
great.
to you over on the gram
I'll talk
soon.
in the DMs. See you in the DMs, girl.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go to ratethispodcast.com/hustlehumbly and leave us a review, or like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at team@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast. Don't forget to find all the free resources at hustlehumblypodcast.com/resources.
See you next week.